shift focus to India's dairy sector then. And Indian dairy industry is calling for a cut in GST on ghee from 12% to 5%, as the current rate is hurting farmers, and higher GST rate is also promoting unorganized market with adulterated products. To understand what the expectation is from the GST meeting and what the outlook is on India's dairy industry, we are now joined by R.S. Sodhi, President at Indian Dairy Association. Mr. Sodhi, thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us here on ET Now. We'll talk about the outlook for the sector and industry in just a bit, but before that, since GST is the buzz today, and I was reading several reports that suggest that Indian Dairy Association is asking and seeking a cut in GST on ghee from 12% currently to 5%. If you can tell us what is the expectation, and realistically, do you expect an outcome in the meeting tomorrow?
Thank you, Sodhi. We are now coming from the precious metal, that is yellow gold, to the white gold, especially for the 80 million milk producers of India. Then Indian farmers have put up very, very genuine demand to the GST Council that ghee, which is nothing but a product made out of 80 million milk producers output, that is the milk. Ghee has got nothing else but the ghee fat. What we are requesting is that when you are charging 5% GST on the imported edible oil which is sold to the consumer, why you are charging 12% on Indian farmer produce? And let me tell you, ghee is no longer a luxury. You go to any average Indian, even lowest class, you go to a security person, you go to a auto driver, you go to any maid house, everybody is consuming ghee. And when you tax ghee, you know whom you are taxing? You are taxing the small milk producer having 2 or 3 cattle. 1 kg ghee is made out of 15 to 20 kg of milk. And one on 12% GST is there, means 70 to 80 rupees per kg you are charging GST, means you are charging 4 rupees per liter to the farmer. Farmer is getting 4 rupees less because of higher GST. And then it is also encouraging adulteration, unorganized trade. We don't understand why we are biased more towards imported edible oil and not charging premium to our Indian farmers. So it is biasness. So we are requesting that today ghee market is around 3 lakh crore, out of that organized is 70,000 crore. So please charge reasonable GST on Indian farmers' produce, so farmers also get the benefit and Indian consumer also get the benefit.
Okay, so that's as far as expectation on reduction of GST on ghee is concerned. But apart from ghee, Mr. Sodhi, if you can tell us any other dairy product that the industry is seeking lower GST on?
Yeah, definitely. We are requesting on the flavored milk, we are requesting on the butter. All dairy is an essential part of Indian food and common man food. All dairy products should be charged only 5%. And the dahi and the buttermilk. I mean, now it was tax-free. Lately, it has been charged 5%. We believe dahi and curd and the buttermilk should be tax-free, like milk and other essential things. That is our request. And ice cream also, 18% GST. Ice cream is most affordable nutrition product for Indian children. It is luxury tax. We can charge 5% and 12%. Why 18% on the ice cream?
Understood. So that's as far as expectation from the GST meeting is concerned. But Mr. Sodhi, also wanted your thoughts, because India exports dairy products to the world, and because of the kind of uncertainty that we are seeing on account of tariffs, especially the tariffs that have been imposed by US, what kind of impact are we seeing on India's dairy industry, and what's the outlook when it comes to export of dairy products to the world?
Well, let me actually tell you, India farmers or Indian dairy industry is not very much dependent on export as of now. Indian dairy market is around 14 lakh crore. organized dairy industry is around 4.5 lakh crore, and our export of dairy products last year was around $500 billion. So you can say it is around 4,500 crores, so very small. Because all over the world, India is the largest dairy market, the fastest growing market. But the way our production is growing, the way our farmers are producing, we have to become a major player in export market. And today it may be small value, but to become a very big exporter, we have to see that we are competitive in price. So our cost of production has to be rationalized, and also the quality. Now coming to the USA cup of 50% tariff, I think USA, India is exporting around 400 to 500 crore rupees dairy. And if duties are charged, I think Indian consumers there in USA will be really happy to pay extra price for the cheese, which is vegetarian cheese or Amul butter or Indian ghee. But you see, why we are saying we should not open up Indian dairy industry for USA or dairy rich countries. For USA, dairy is a business. Only 25,000 dairy industrial farms are there. It used to be around 6.5 lakh dairy farm in USA 50 years back, which has reduced to 25,000 industrial farm. Whereas in India, there are 8 crore farmers, each with 2 or 3 cows of buffalo. So there it is an industry. In India, it is livelihood. And second, we also have to ensure food security of Indian 1.45 people. And dairy is an important part of Indian deal. 20% of average spending on dairy. So we cannot take risk of allowing free imports of dairy from the dairy surplus countries like USA, Europe, or New Zealand, etc. So whatever government of India and the legislators adopted policy of encouraging local production, I think it's a very good move, and we congratulate Prime Minister of India and the Commerce Ministry for protecting Indian dairy industry and the 8 crore dairy farmers.
Indeed, so India's dairy industry is a critical part of India's economy, and we are expecting a positive outcome from the GST meeting, which is currently underway, and the outcome of which is expected tomorrow. Mr. Sodhi, thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us here today on ET Now and helping us understand what the outlook is for India's dairy sector going forward. Thanks so much for joining in. But shifting.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.